Yeah, it was the kind of the toast of the town there for a couple months in the late fall and early winter, but has definitely receded in popularity.
So we're going to see this black take on Devotion against Jund Monsters here. So Boettcher versus Krieger. Both these players sitting here at 3-0, and we'll be underway here in just a moment as Yonathan has decided it's time to take off some clothing.
Yeah, time to settle in.
Yeah, the gun show perhaps. As Jared is fully clothed and does have his Pokemon hat, as he always does. He will start with a Temple of Deceit, and round number 4 is underway between Boettcher and Krieger. Overgrown Tomb there for Krieger. Before passing the turn back, Boettcher just playing another Temple of Deceit before kicking it back over to Krieger, who will play a Mutavault, and it's going to be a Sylvan Caryatid. So, Krieger with the first play, you can see Boettcher does have an Underworld Connections in his hand, also has a Mutavault. I'm just going to pass the turn back, opting not to deploy the connections this turn. You can see the Hero's Downfall. He's ready to kill something.
Yeah, wants to take care of a Planeswalker or creature that hits play this turn. I'm interested to know if Jared just thinks that the splash is correct, like he wants the red cards or wants the blue cards, or if he wants to play Scrylands anyway and just thinks that the splash is free.
Sure.
Because it's odd to see him always have the splash in his deck, never playing just the monocolor build.
Yeah, he's never the one with all the swamps. He never does that.
And once you're in the world where you want a certain number of Scrylands in the list anyway, then maybe you just consider it free to add the color.
Boettcher going to play a Water Grave untapped. He's going to go down to 18. There's a Desecration Demon. So he could have fired off Hero's Downfall on Domri, but he decided to save that for something else, as Domri is not all that threatening just yet. Krieger draws another copy of Domri for the turn. You can see he's having, I would say, minor mana issues. You know, his red source of mana is simply only Sylvan Caryatid at this point.
The tough thing about this plan, I like racing because Jund Monsters is not flush with answers to Desecration Demon, but Yonathan does have one of them in his hand in ultimate price.
Yeah. That's part of the reason the deck started to splash black initially, is just because the 6/6 was such a pain to deal with. You were actually okay against generally a lot of their other cards. As now we have a Xenagos here. See, this is going to tick up. And it will tick up. And then one more mana. Now there's ultimate price to take care of the demon. So the Planeswalkers are a little open here to a Mutavault that could strike.
That's a pretty tough turn there for Jared, though. Yonathan advances board pretty significantly there. 2 Planeswalkers in play. And now, you know, Jared has really no choice but to run the last turn back, recast this Desecration Demon, and hope it's good this time.
Well, there is a second demon there from Boettcher. Krieger will draw a card. You see a Domri over there. He's going to take up the Domri that's in play. Take a look. Looks like that card's going to go to hand. It's a copy of Scavenging Ooze. Backup Planeswalkers in hand. Both in Domri and Xenagos. Does have a copy of Pelucranos as well. So see what Krieger wants to deploy on this turn. You have to imagine it'll be something. Both these players starting off their tournament quite well, sitting at 3-0. Here is a Satyr token. That, of course, does a great job against Desecration Demon. A natural foil to the card. And now here is Pelucranos. So Krieger's doing a really nice job of just continually advancing his board.
Yeah, it's still going to be challenging for him to answer the Desecration Demon, but he may generate enough extra resources and extra creatures where he can keep it mostly pinned.
A Swamp for Boettcher off the top does come directly into play, as he did not play his land the last turn. You can see the Sign of Blood in his hand. Does have a Connections that he opted not to cast on the third turn. He opted to hold up Hero's Downfall instead, but he hasn't cast that yet either, so that's still there as well. Now he has to figure out how to actually use all these cards that he has.
Yeah, the first order of business might just be declaring combat and seeing how Krieger responds.
Boettcher going to move around some mana. We can't forget about the Sign in Blood that he has in his hand as well. Could start off his turn just by casting that and going down to 16. So he does start by declaring combat. Desecration Demon is going to turn into a 7/7 now, as the Satyr token is going to bite the dust. Here's a Hero's Downfall to take care of the Xenagos. And Boettcher's going to pass the turn back with the ability to cast the Bile Blight that's in his hand. So Krieger is going to draw a card. His Domri at 6, threatening ultimate very soon here.
And the Bile Blight gives Jared potentially quite a bit of play against both Pelucranos and Domri's fight.
Yeah, and Boettcher has just decided right now with that Xenagos coming down that he has seen enough of this game. He's going to concede very quickly. Looks like he's a little bit frustrated with how he played those turns of the game.
Well, he took a line of play, and Yonathan had the tools to punish him for it for sure. But That did feel like a quick concession to me. Felt like there was still game left to be played.
Yeah, it felt like there was definitely some game left to play, but you can kind of see on his face that he's a little bit frustrated with how he played those, first opening turns of the game and conceded very, very quickly. So we're going to go to the sideboards here. Unexpectedly, very quickly. You've got Boettchers in front of you. I'll let you begin.
3 Duress, 3 Lifebane Zombie, 3 Doomblade, 2 Erebos, God of the Dead, 2 Negate, and Underworld Connection. There are 3 copies in his main deck and then 1 more on the board, and 1 copy of Notion Thief. So I think that Lifebane Zombie, Doomblade, those are for sure coming in. I don't know how much he wants to fight over Planeswalkers. Boarding in the negates feels pretty extreme to me, but it's possible Duress will come in as well.
On Krieger's side here, he's got an Garruk Apex Predator of Vraska the Unseen, 2 copies of Rakdos' Return, 2 Dreadbores, an Abrupt Decay, a Mortars, 3 Mistcutter Hydras, a Whip of Erebos, 2 copies of Putrefy and Setessan Tactics, 2 Putrefys and 2 Dreadbores I expect to come in just to be able to contain that demon, have more answers to the 6/6 flyer.
Yeah, that's public enemy number 1 in the matchup. The rest of the creatures are pretty easy to contain with things like Domri fights or just overpowering them with larger stuff. But Desecration Demon is bigger than the things that Yonathan brings to the table. He needs more answers to it.
We could see a card like Vraska come in. We've seen Rakdos' Return coming in this matchup as well before. So we'll see exactly how Yonathan does decide to sideboard here. But we will turn our attention to our brand new Premier IQs that we've been running here on the Open Series. We've had some modern Premier IQs recently, and now you do see the prize and the structure.
Yeah, so these IQs can be run at the local level as well. $5,000 in cash prizes, open points to all participants. Top 4 receive invites to the Invitational, much more. We run these every Sunday, 10 a.m. at all of our Open Series. They're all modern. But if you're interested in running these at your local store or as a tournament organizer, those are available to be run as well. So you can contact Star City Games through your normal organized play channels. We have some of these have already been run on the local level. We have more set up through 2014, 2015 as well. So you're definitely going to want to bring these to your local area. Again, $5,000 in cash prizes with top 4 getting invites to the Invitational and open points to all participants.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Of course, we know people love modern, so we're happy that we're able to finally bring them over to the Open Series. We've run 3 of these Premier IQs so far in the Open Series. Tournament has been fantastic. As far as results are concerned, it's all about Overgrown Tomb. The first one won by Malirapod, second one won by Kent Ketter, in which he did not lose a game. That's correct, a game playing the Black-Green Rock deck, and then the next one won by a Black-Green Rock deck as well when we were in Dallas last weekend. So, Modern looks to be a format that is being currently dominated by Overgrown Tomb.
Yes, it is. But if you want to run these on your local level, keep in mind, it does not have to be modern.
Yes.
You can run them as standard or whatever format that you think is best served in your local area. So again, Premier level IQs, we've got some of them already set up in 2014. Open Series every Sunday, 10 a.m. modern format. And if you're interested in scheduling these, contact RCD Games today.
Game number 2 going to be underway here shortly between Boettcher and Krieger. Boettcher conceding what felt a little bit prematurely there, but did not look very thrilled with how he made his plays in that game. Saw some frustration, something we don't normally see from Jared. Normally, kind of a laid-back, having fun kind of guy with his Pokemon hat and all the winning he's been doing over the past calendar year. But you could definitely sense some frustration.
Yeah, well, he
he
took a line of play. Maybe he wasn't thrilled with the combination of how things broke and what his sequencing was. Now, I'm a man who concedes quickly, so I'm not criticizing
As I know.
But it just felt like a quick concession.
It'll be a Water Grave to start things off here. An Elvish Mystic off a Llanowar Waste will put Krieger down to 19. And Boettcher will draw a card for the turn. He will play a Water Grave number 2. And now here's a Duress. We'll see a Stormbreath Dragon, a Sylvan Caryatid, a Garruk Apex Predator as the card that he can select, along with a Blood Crypt and a Temple of Abandon. So Boettcher will write down those cards, and he'll know that his opponent has the ability to cast what looks to be a dragon on turn 3.
But these are the type of hands that Jared's very well situated to beat.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he can easily break up draws where the payout is one big creature at the end of the line. He has so many heroes, downfalls, and doomblades and so forth. It's the Planeswalkers unchecked that cause Jared the most problems in the matchup. So he's got to be really thrilled with the hand that he just saw there.
Temple going to come down. He's going to scry the top card to the bottom. Now there's the Caryatid before passing the turn back over to Boettcher. Draws a copy of Pack Rat for the turn. You can see he's got quite a few lands in his hand right now. Looks like 2 Swamps and 2 Mutavaults. We'll deploy one of those Mutavaults. There is Devour Flesh, so we're going to cast that to slow down the mana development of Krieger. So what that feels like to me, Patrick, is 1, he needs to get Devour Flesh out of his hand just because he needs to get it out of his hand. But 2, it doesn't look like he has an answer to the payoff card just yet.
Yep. Well, I think it's more the first thing than anything else. It's in his hand. It's not getting better. Just has to cast it.
There's Pelucranos. That's going to come down. We'll have to take, well, yeah, it actually doesn't have to take 1 to do so. So he's just fine as Krieger. Boettcher going to draw a card for the turn.
And this Pelucranos, not always great against Mono Black Devotion, but this is an awkward spot. I mean, he can't really play his pack right now. He can Thoughtseize, but that is not an answer to Pelucranos in play. And the Pack Rat, his Mutavault's in play. They're all jammed up until that leaves play.
Yeah, got to get that thing off the board first. There is a second Mutavault. This will be a Thoughtseize. It's just like, I think it's just going to be the Dragon. I think there are just 2 lands left in the hand. Yeah, Blood Crypt and Temple of Abandon. So there is that. Bet you're going to take 2 to get that information. Don't forget the Scry from last turn put the top card to the bottom, so Krieger doesn't know what he's drawing. And it's just another land here, so kind of all in on Pelucranos at this point.
Yep. A card that Jared can answer pretty easily, but needs to answer fast.
Temple of Abandon is going to put the top card to the bottom before passing the turn back over to Boettcher. Boettcher draws a card, didn't get a great look at it, but he will play a Swamp to start things off. And it looks like it might be time for Pack Rat. It is. There's a backup Pack Rat in hand. Okay. Let's see his plan now. He's going to play the other Pack Rat. With the ability to turn those into 3/3s right now.
Yeah. The problem is Krieger is thinking about responding and fighting for 1, but that doesn't get him anywhere because the Mutavault is still available for Jared to animate.
Yep. So yeah, he's going to fight for 1, and Jared's going to very quickly say, activate my Mutavault, turn 2 and 2/2. You're not going to get anything done past the turn back. Krieger draws his cards, a copy of Course of Crewfix. So smart play there by Boettcher. Krieger with a bit of a misstep.
Well, it does free up the Mutavault to attack this turn, but it does feel like that was not the greatest use of that Pelucranos fight.
Stormbreath Dragon is the top card. The Blood Crypt's going to come into play tapped. Krieger will gain a life off of that. He's up to 21, and we will see if the World Eater wants to attack, and it will, in here for 6. So Boettcher looks like he's going to go down to 7. He has to take a punch in the face now to get Pack Rat turned on later. Thoughtseize is the draw. The big question right now, if you're Boettcher, is can I beat this flyer? Because right now, it doesn't look like you can.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough spot. That felt like a spot where Yonathan did need to send in that Mutavault, though. The difference between taking a Rat out of play or knocking Jared to 5 there is significant.
I agree.
Though it's still going to be tough for Jared to race the Stormbreath Dragon now. Yonathan can untap, leave everything back on defense besides the Stormbreath, and put Jared to the test.
Boettcher can do some attacking here. He's got to start to get some damage through. Knows that his opponent's next turn is likely dedicated to casting that Stormbreath Dragon. Maybe Mutavault gets fired up. We'll see. But a very aggressive attack here from Boettcher.
Well, he can't win by blocking.
No. He's got to get attacking. He's got to put Krieger's life total under duress.
And with 2 Mutavaults on Jared's side, he has a lot of flexibility in terms of both how he blocks and how he can chump block.
Going to discard this Thoughtseize. Doesn't need that. There's a Rat. Activate the Mutavault. Turn him into 4/4s. Clear both those things out of the way. There's a Swamp. Kick it back. Krieger going to draw the Stormbreath Dragon. Boettcher already knows that. Top card of the deck does not get revealed as there is no Courser in play right now. So that information is private. Stomp Ground's going to come into play untapped. Krieger's going to go down to 19. Going to deploy the Dragon.
I mean, Jared has no hand here, so this could very easily just be, attack with Stormbreath, hope to get the double chump block 2 of your Rats, and
Mutavault's going to come in. That's going to chump block there. Boettcher goes down to 3. So it's Removal Spell or Bust right now. So that's step 1. Let's see what he draws.
He can get his Rats to 5/5s by activating the Mutavault and discarding a card. But he only has 3 attackers plus the Mutavault available. That's only 17 on board.
Yep.
So Yonathan survives on board even by not blocking.
One card that's a little bit interesting in this situation is a card like Bile Blight, which Boettcher, if he draws that, could shrink the Dragon. Only take 1, but of course, if Krieger does draw a land, he could Monstrosity the Dragon and deal exactly enough. Well, he'd deal 1 over to get the job done. So
it's also an open question if Jared even has Bile Blight in his deck post-board.
After sideboard, yeah. Yeah, and he's going to extend the hand. I think his draw was just a swamp for the turn. He knows he's beat. And Yonathan Krieger is going to win this match over Jared Boettcher 2-0. Jun Monsters taking down this take on Black Devotion.
Some odd games there because it felt like both times Jared kind of had the tools required to win.